Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Core Conversations for Thursday. Let there be light. We're good to go. And Natalya is joining us, the Pilates Body Workout. This is part 2 for us, as we did a Tuesday conversation. It's been a really fun week as you've been following along. And lots of stuff going on. So I really appreciate you continuing to support us. Natalya, I see you. I'll have you on shortly. Hi, Lisa. Sorry we can't do our workout today. We're going to miss our TRX workout because lots of stuff going on. And that kind of brings me into my first thing I want to talk about today, but I'm going to do a couple of housekeeping things here first. I'll talk about busy, and we'll talk about a $10 bill. Stan the man, what's going on? Hope you're doing well. Long time. Okay, any online workouts, programs? Put them in the comment section. Hi, Labrice. Labrice, if you have any workshops or workups coming up, please put it in the comment section. And for all of you out there, if you have any online classes, things that you're doing, please just put it in the comment section. I'd love to just support what you're doing. I know Labrice did one with the tower work the other day, or roll down bar. Any other ones you have coming up? She's an amazing instructor, as are all of you, so I want to just continue to shout out. Andrea, hi. Cool. Pilates Zone, how are you doing? I always send a little notification to people. Neil, how you doing? Good to have you back, man. Shay, Roxy, Pilates Body Workout. Cool. All right, so Grace will be teaching at Momentum Fest, also teaching at the Balance by Virtual applies on tour, a workshop teaching Pilates to men. Yes, she's good at that. Handstand pirouettes. Nice. What else you guys have going on? Love to support. Now, while we're doing this, I just want to say that I'm also speaking at Momentum Fest, and I have a few workshops that I'll be doing there. We're still in the works with it, but basically, I'm doing two virtual sessions, so I'm not going to be on site, but I'll be doing a virtual one, which will be a TRX workout. I used to speak and present with TRX for many, many years and have woven that into a lot of my workouts and giving people some good solutions for working at home. So I will be doing an at-home TRX workshop, and that will be for specifically influenced and informed by our Pilates work as well. So I'm going to have some fun with that. Going to do another workshop on push-ups. One of the last exercises in our Pilates system is the push-up, and we have so many different modifications that we can do with that. So I am going to take people through a workshop that I've done, teaching people how to do a push-up who've never done one before, and get people out of the excuse that they need to do modified push-ups, and do not ever in my presence call them a girl push-up. Full stop. So those two, whatever else they want to put me in terms of workshops and stuff like that, what's the word I'm looking for? Panel discussions I'll do as well. So I'm really looking forward to Momentum Fest, and that is definitely been one of the highlights of this time that we've had of transition, and with this pandemic, quarantine, is connecting with people and building new relationships. And as you can see through my day in a life workshops and day in a life kind of posts I've been doing all week, is that I'm like really, really connected and doing some really, really fun stuff right now. And I'm very cautious to use the word busy, because we glorify busy. Busy is this thing where when your life isn't in order and you're running in 6 different places at the same time, it lacks the organization, and we wear it like a badge of honor to be so busy that we're not resting, we're not taking time for ourselves. So I'm not making busy a swear word, but at the same time, I'm just being very cautious with it. So even in my conversations with Jessica yesterday, and we're talking about all these different things, and I was like, you can make up a title for it, you can do whatever you want, whatever fits your people, whatever. And she was like, okay, well, you can, that's fine, we'll do that, thanks so much. I know you're super busy right now. I have a lot of things on the go. Yes, I'm presenting, I did Natalya's interview earlier this week, shuffle some clients around. I'm speaking this afternoon. I'm on the hot seat for Jenna with Brink tomorrow, preparing for Brink next week. There's a lot of things on the go, but I've planned for it. And I would have to say that I'm not necessarily super busy. I'm just super focused right now. So I've said yes to some things, but I also said no to a lot of things to be able to give some space to the things I want to say yes to right now. So if I say no to you, it's because I'm focused on something else. It's not because I'm so busy that I don't have my life in balance. Things are hectic right now, yes, but you see what I'm saying? Like I don't want busy to be this thing with this lack of balance. There's a lot of stuff going on right now, but it's a question of focus. So I've been thinking about those words, and obviously I'm chewing on a lot of different concepts as I'm preparing for Brink. But those are the things that I'm starting to think about in terms of our own leadership and the way that we connect and the way that we show up for our clients. Are we focused on certain things? Are we trying to keep things in balance? Are we doing things so that we can always, provide the best experience for our people? So what's your thoughts on that? I have one more little thought before I bring on Natalya as well. I just want to say hi to Kai, Krista, Joel, what's going on? And LaBreeze, I'm so happy you're here, Kristen. Alright, so the last thing that I'm going to bring up is something that just got me so hyped yesterday. I wasn't going to broadcast I did this, but Tasha put it out there, so I may as well just throw it out for all of you. And LaBreeze was one of the people that got this as well. So actually, LaBreeze, if you want to even come on and you can talk for a second if you're free. Just give me a thumbs up if you want to come on the screen before I bring Natalya on. But what I did was I received a $10 bill from a lady, a Jamaican lady that takes my Pilates class. She's in her 80s, sweet old lady at this community center I used to teach at. In December of last year, they released a $10 note that had a black woman on it by the name of Viola Desmond. And I've shared the story here already. And it just really impacted me, and it's beautiful to see a black woman on this bill, because in Canada that would be the first time that there was a woman other than monarchy on a bill and not with other people in it. And second, obviously, it was a black woman too. So it's just amazing, the story of this woman who fought segregation, who was a business owner, who did all kinds of stuff. So I sent this $10 bill to LaBreeze, to Tasha, and some other people. So I'm going to bring LaBreeze on just to talk for 1 second here, and I'll share the second half of the story. Hi, my friend.
Hi.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, great. Perfect.
So the I just wanted to say, Tasha put up a post with the $10 bill that I sent you and her and a few others. And I'm just going to read a little bit of what she posted
Thank
here
you,
because
by the
it was
way.
such an
First of all,
inspiration.
thank you, Martin.
Oh, yeah.
It was such
My
I don't know,
pleasure.
it's just a really cool treat. Canada, my bill is sitting in, it's like pressed in the most giant dictionary that I have because I really wanted it to be flat because you had to fold it to mail it to me. And then I was like, I want it flat.
Mhm.
So I need to get it back out, but go ahead.
Yes. I was trying to get brand new bills that weren't folded and all this stuff, but they had like honestly, I didn't tell anyone this part of the story, but they have new ones that came out this year. So I had to drive all over the city to get those bills. So they were crumpled. I was trading bills with people. I went to the bank. The bank didn't have enough of
It's
them.
too
Like, dude, it
funny.
was not.
Oh my
I thought I would just
gosh.
go walk into the bank with like $100 bills, swap them out, walk out with 10 tens. But instead, it was
Right.
just like this poor lady at the bank. There was like this lady, and she had like, she must have pulled out like $1,000 in tens and had to go through them to
Try to
find
find that
the
bill.
viol. Yeah. Oh, it was. So that's why you didn't get a
But that
mint
makes
bill.
it
So
even
that's.
more special because like you put some serious love and effort into that. No, I just and we
Yes.
never get real mail anymore, right? That was the other thing. I
That's
was
it
like,
too.
"Oh my gosh, I got a card from Martin in Canada. This is so cool."
Yes, and it wasn't
All
a
the way to
bill.
Switzerland. You're right.
Hmm.
Different, the good kind, the dollar
Yes,
bill.
exactly.
Anyway, go ahead. What did
So
Tasha say?
yeah, so this is what Tasha said. I love having you here because she shares a little bit of the story, and then she with this line. She goes, at this time when Viola Desmond was, arrested for resisting and just being in the segregated area and all that stuff. She says at that time she was running her own beauty salon. She had her own line of beauty products. She was training other women to be in the beauty business, and she was 32 years old at the time. And then she has four
Okay.
takeaways, and she says, one, there is a cost to being first. Two,
What
two,
was the
change
second
can
one?
start
You
with
cut out?
you. Oh, sorry, change can start with
Yeah.
you. That's two. Three, you're not too young or too old. And lastly,
Hmm.
four, you can be after the money or you can create such an impact that you are on the money.
Nice. Oh, that's a good one. Oh,
That fired me up. I was
nicely
like,
put. Nicely
you
put.
can, you
Right?
can, you,
On the
yes,
money.
yes, you can be after the
That's
money
so
or you can
good.
make such an impact that you
Hmm.
are on the money. What are you doing with
Yeah.
your life that would have such an impact that you would have a note in your honor?
Incredible.
That's like a next level challenge for me.
Incredible.
So I just wanted to throw it out there, and that's the inspiration I wanted for you.
Wow. No
So
pressure,
yeah,
right?
no pressure. Just
How can you get on
just
the
change the
money?
world.
Just
How do you get
just
on
get
the
on a
money?
bill. Yeah, just change the world. Be honored.
Yeah, just change
That's
the world.
funny because we have
There you
this
go.
saying in the United States when you're on the money, it's like being right
Mhm.
on target, right on
You're on the
what
money.
were you trying to,
Yeah.
you're on the money. And I never thought of it
Yes.
literally what bill being on the money. I mean, you
Right.
can't get much to be that kind of honored.
Yeah.
That's
You gotta.
that's
That's give my
interesting.
brother credit for
And
that.
I'm fine. I really
Yeah.
I totally resonated with what you were saying about the busy thing too, Martin. It's so well put, and just focusing on what matters to us and not
Yep.
feeling like it is making us busy. Just putting in the work too. You know, I think a lot of times we forget
Yep.
that it does take work to achieve what we're trying to get, but to make an impact,
Absolutely.
it's important. You know, I felt pretty
Hmm.
jazzed after that webinar that I did on the deeper dives yesterday. It was a lot of fun. Um, and it just felt
Great.
good to do what I love to do, which is teaching teachers. That's what I
Yes.
keep realizing. I mean, I love my clients, but I prefer to teach teachers because you can't teach all the
That's the whole
clients in the
thing,
world,
right?
right? But you can teach teachers.
Right. Uh, so Italian
Yeah.
expand our reach, right? Because you're right. There's only so many hours in the day. There's only so many people I can physically touch. So how do I scale up my business and how do I extend those tentacles? And teaching teachers for you is where you find energy and where you're just awesome at. So yeah, I'm gonna bring her on. I just wanted to say hi. And once again, I just think
Okay.
you're
Yeah.
just an amazing, amazing
How do
instructor.
I
So
get
thank you
off?
so much for,
You can
I
get
don't
me
know.
off, right? You're welcome.
I,
All right.
there's a
Bye,
way to do
Martin.
it somehow. Just there's X
Well, I could
somewhere.
put on my glasses and look. Um, the only
I've
X I
canceled the
see
whole
would be
live,
get rid
by the
of
way.
you, and I don't want to do that. I feel, oh wait,
That's the
no.
one. That is it, actually.
Did it? Is it?
Yep.
Can you X me out?
I can. I think it'll cancel the whole Instagram.
I'll do it then. I'll just come back on.
Hey, that works. Awesome. Okay. So Natalya's coming on right now, and I'm really excited to just continue this conversation and build off of what we were talking about the other day. There you go. So send your requests, and should be on any second here. Hey, okay, good stuff. Yeah, the distinction between focus and busy is really key. I've just been musing on the word focus a lot, and it'll come up in my Brink chat too. I've given so many spoilers on that. It's not even funny. Okay, and Talia, are you ready? Okay, just said that you're unable to join. Send another request. Hi,
Hey, how's it going?
it's going good.
Just got to turn off my other device. Hello.
Nice. It just takes a second to settle sometimes. You notice that like it gets like grainy and then it
Yeah.
clears out. It's just kind of buffering a bit.
Can you hear me okay?
So yeah, I can actually. A little bit of a lag, but I will start talking while it's lagging here for a second and just say that I really had fun on Tuesday. And
Yeah, it was good.
it,
So,
it's funny how I like whenever I do these talks, people are so often are like, I'm not sure if I could talk for an hour. I'm not sure if I have enough stuff to say. I'm not really that, like you get those kind of, I'm not really important enough. I don't have that much content for an hour. And then all of a sudden we're like, and we have
right.
57 minutes, right? Um, and it flies by. And I felt like that, like being on the receiving end of that, like there's so many things I wanted to say, and it's just like, okay, that's gone. Okay, that's gone. Okay, well, I'll give you the short version of that story because there's not that much time, right? Like you can't really, even in an
Right.
hour, really settle into a piece of the conversation. So it's really interesting how that flows.
Yeah, for sure. I think sometimes we forget how much we have to say. I'm just going to try to move around my dining room here to see if I get a better connection. I'm always more comfortable on the floor anyway. I don't know why I decided to sit at my table. Yeah, and it is nice to kind of spark a conversation and see where it takes you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So while we're just settling in here, if you can say your name and your business, and we'll just go where the conversation goes from there.
Sure. I think I'm probably getting settled here. Ta-da! And I think we have a better connection. So my name is
Hello.
Natalya Sebastian, and my business is Pilates Body Workout.
Nice. Why did you choose the name Pilates Body Workout? Just out of curiosity, because I've heard so many different approaches to Pilates Body, and I know that you have such a positive spin to that. So,
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. Over a decade ago, and I think that name has changed for me dramatically over time, especially now having had 2 children and evolved as a young woman. To me, a Pilates body has nothing to do with what you physiologically look like when someone looks at you, but it has everything to do with the hallmarks of what a Pilates mover is. So do you move with control? Do you move with ease and grace? Do you move with strength and agility? To me, that is embodying Pilates. Therefore, if you embody those qualities, then you are moving towards a Pilates body. So yeah, hopefully that makes it a little clearer.
that was pretty succinct. That was solid, actually. Because I mean, like, so no, I'm sure you've been asked that question before, because that was clean.
Yeah, I think I just give it more thought now, because it is important that people know that it has nothing to do with the aesthetic. Though you may have aesthetic benefits from practicing Pilates, I'm sure you will. That's not really the intention, the impetus.
Mm-hmm. All right. So real talk.
Yeah.
You've been doing Pilates for a while. You have a Pilates body. You have kids. Do you feel like you no longer have a Pilates body before you rethink what that really meant?
You mean like now? Do I look at it differently than I did prior to having children?
Yeah, exactly.
No, I think I've always really felt that way. That, you know, the words like Pilates body, it really is about embodying things. I feel that now at my age, after having 2 children, I'm actually stronger than I was in my 20s, for sure. And I try to encourage other people that are like, oh, I'm too old. Like, no, I can't. It's like, oh my gosh, like, you can make so many gains as a parent or as even an older adult if you just try.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. And excuse me, a lot of times we think and we just associate with women with body image and body positivity and body self-confidence, and then we layer in the Pilates speak and stuff, but it's the same for guys.
Yeah.
But it still is the same thing. And there was a post that I put up one time where I still work out a lot, but I was doing a lot of resistance training. And when I went through my apprenticeship, I didn't mention this on Tuesday, but when I was doing that apprenticeship, Chris Robinson said, you know, I'm going to challenge you to stop lifting weights so that you can get this in your body. So there was a time where so for the 18 months I was doing my Pilates cert, I stopped resistance training. So I stopped using lifting weights, doing my squats, deadlifts, keeping my bench press up, dropped all of that so I could legit get Pilates in my body. And what I mean by that is get out. Yeah, and you get out of those habits. Like you get certain movement patterns. So you play football and all they care about is your bench press, which makes no sense. And that's a whole separate conversation. But you get to this place where all you're training, you're chasing numbers, and then you get into bad movement patterns and habits that you have to undo. So he was like, stop working out and see how this impacts your movement. So then what happened was, as I was doing my, I was just going to my closet the other day, and Sunday I throw on this old TRX shirt from when I used to teach workshops with TRX, and I noticed the gap on the bicep was like there, which before it used to fit pretty tight and feel pretty good. And I was like, you know what I mean? So that was
Yep.
That's the equivalent
Totally.
of a woman putting on a dress that like fits tight is me putting on a shirt and it fits loose at the arm. And like,
Yeah, I think we do. Like, we get really caught up, regardless of your gender, about like what the body looks like as opposed to how it functions. And I think that it's an ongoing
yes.
challenge to think about that. Especially having, in my case, come from a dance background where like the aesthetic was everything, and you coming from being an athlete, like certainly that look of being an athlete was important to your identity.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, so as we camp out on the word Pilates body workout, that's exactly it. I love how in this cancel culture society that we live in, you have chosen to redeem that word.
Yeah, I don't think it has to be negative. I think that it can be a positive kind of phraseology. And it's also like very clear, like what are we doing? We're doing a Pilates body workout. It's one of the reasons that it's really hard. Actually, I shouldn't say this out loud. It's very hard to trademark. So because it's so literal, yes. But that's a whole nother conversation.
Yes. Right. But that's good. It's clear. It's absolutely clear what you do. Now, so can you talk about your platform and how you're presenting it?
Yeah, so I pivoted really quickly when the pandemic struck. A good friend of mine was like, Natalya, like you need to do this online offering on demand. And I'm like, I don't know, like I'm not really into recording myself and having pre-recorded content. I'm really about that in the moment experience. I think there's such magical things that happen when you have in real life, in real time experiences. But I was like, okay, I'll give this a try. And the first couple videos that I shot, I was like, this is a garbage fire. I can't do this. Then I realized that I was just being super critical and that it was going to be okay. And the more that I did them and the more feedback I got from friends and family and students, the more I was like, okay, you know what? This is amazing. Suddenly, my aunt, who I can't teach Pilates to, can do Pilates with me anywhere. And my friend who lives in New York, she can do Pilates with me. And not only that, but so many people that maybe weren't able to afford doing Pilates with me could now afford it. And suddenly I got like really this momentum of, I want to do this. So that's kind of how it came about.
So what do you say to the person who is starting their Pilates business? They're making this pivot. They're slow in making the pivot. And now they see that everyone and their brother has an on-demand Pilates online
I have
thing.
such a good answer for you. Because I thought about this myself, right? And it's that when you look at actors, it's like just because there is a Denzel Washington doesn't mean that we don't need a Meryl Streep. Just because, there's a Tom Hanks doesn't mean we don't need whoever else is cool. We all have our value and we all have our niche and we all have our approach. And there's going to be people that want to do Pilates Body Workout with me, but I don't speak to them. And that's okay, because there's going to be somebody else that is speaking their language and getting them into it in their own way. So don't be
That's a great answer.
There's a place for everybody. And I really believe that everybody can be successful. We don't need to be in like a dog eat dog kind of situation. Everyone can be successful.
You're getting lots of hearts for that one. I 100% agree. That actually is like the foundation of my talk at Brink, actually. So thanks for taking my message for me.
Because that's exactly it. Like, we really all can be successful. We all can be great. And you know, Kai here is in the thread here, and he mailed me a shirt that says, "Who is your Joseph?"
Okay, meaning, oh, who is your Joseph
Me.
Pilates?
Who is your Joseph Pilates? Your teacher. Who is the person that resonates with you? The person that brings out the best in you? The person that you connect with? As much as I think someone may prefer Emmett over me, and I'm not going to cry over that, because he has his people, he has his gifts and his callings and his way that he connects. And likewise, there may be someone that's been teaching with him, and he refers to me, and they love working with me, right? So we all have that person that we all just perfectly gel with. So I love how he put it in that way, saying, who is your Joseph? Who is the person that is for you, right? There's 3 billion people on this planet. I'm sure someone can, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. And Emma's comment there is, I think that they should be clear about their expectations and goals with it. And that's the other piece too. In you know, your on-demand format or whatever business direction you want to go with your Pilates, it is a question of like, who do you want to connect with, right? So that would be my question for you. Like, who is your ideal client? Who is your audience? Who are the people that you really, really want to connect with?
My ideal, my avatar, kind of the perfect fit, I think, for my business is really anybody and everybody that just wants to move and feel better. I am not promising you a six-pack. I am not promising you anything other than you're going to move better and you're going to feel better. And I think that we talked a little bit, you and I, about how Pilates can be intimidating and it can feel like there isn't an entry point for beginners. And so my intention is to make there an entry point, and to make everyone feel invited into Pilates. Yeah, I could probably say a lot about that, but I'll end it there.
Well, no. You can say more about that. I love that. Like, actually, yeah, please say more about that.
Yeah, like I know that a lot of people are saying like Pilates is for everybody, and it's like, but is it? Like, are you really making it for everybody? And I want to address that. I know my website doesn't have like a diversity. It doesn't have all the shapes and sizes. It doesn't have all the genders, and it doesn't have all of the diversity that it could. But please remember that I launched my website in the middle of the pandemic, and I couldn't photograph all the beautiful human beings that I teach, right? So it's like a lot of raw Natalia. But that's going to change as soon as the pandemic is over. So just because it doesn't visually have the diversity of the spectrum of humans that I teach doesn't mean that it won't, and that, you know, that it's not for everybody. It is. And if you want to learn and you want to kind of move better and feel better, then yeah, you're welcome.
You brought up a really good point there, and a really sensitive topic too in this time, is that we want representation in everything we do. However, are we supposed to be all things to all people all the time? Right? So if I have a niche and I have a people group that I'm passionate about teaching about, yes, that closes me off to one people group, but that also makes me that much more accessible to another. And I need to trust that there are people on the planet that are equally passionate about their people group.
Yes.
And they're doing their work.
There's a gentleman I follow. I don't know him at all. He populates on my feed. I think it's Pilates Dwell. Does this ring a bell?
Yes, Kevin. Yes, a good friend of mine. Yeah.
He's been posting, teaching young adults, like, you know, maybe like adolescents. And I was like, this is so great. So that would be an example of, you know, he seems to have a niche or like a particular cohort, and just run with it. That's great. It doesn't mean he's not good at teaching adults. It just means right now he's got a great group of adolescents.
Right. Exactly. That was my conversation yesterday too, right? Like, as you know, Sarah and I were talking about with her thing with teens as well. Generally speaking, within her group, you know, and she teaches everyone at her studio, but she's passionate about really diving deep into the teen world as well. So yes, all are like, we've been taught, I mean, any teacher training is going to teach you how to teach general population, and then it's on us to move from there to our place of passion. Yeah. So
Totally.
yeah.
And it is
And
important.
then,
Like, I
and
think it's a really good point to make, that we don't have to be everything to everybody. It is definitely sometimes a good idea to stick to what you're really passionate about, whether it's mothers or athletes or, I don't know, like whatever you're into.
yeah, absolutely. So now, have you used that line, I want to teach new beginners, or that I want to teach anyone who wants to learn? Has anyone kind of sat down with you and said, that's not narrow enough?
I'm sure the people that try and formulate my website SEO, they want it to be a little bit more narrowed down. But I guess when I created Pilates Body Workout, I thought about the people that I love in my life, my family members, my friends, my
Yes.
community. And so when I go to create my segments for Pilates Body Workout, I think about them, and I think about, is this particular segment going to be okay for my mom to do? Is it going to be equally okay for my niece to do? And I keep every segment, that it's going to be appropriate for them. But as I create segments, I can certainly try to make sure that I hit all those various people.
Right. And yeah, because it is going to evolve. Like, we evolve, we have different life stages. And when you and I were talking on Tuesday, I was saying that too. Like, when my kids were young and like we had one child, we were expecting our second, as a personal trainer, I was taking pre and postnatal, and it just so happened that a lot of the people I was training were having their babies. So as a guy, I was doing a lot of
Right.
pre and postnatal for pregnant athletes, right? So I don't have any pregnant now. Like, all those clients have grown through that phase. So that's not my point of emphasis
Right.
anymore. We're all going to continue to evolve and have different things that we're passionate about. But Natalya, what you said a minute ago, I love that as almost a guiding or a prompting question for someone working on their business is, think about the people in your world that you love, and are you building it for them? And I think that's a good guiding principle for what you do. And maybe think about
Yeah.
my area where, I'm really passionate about teaching men. And I think about like my friends who I went to high school with, who are now, some of them aren't really working out at all. I'm thinking, okay, these guys are stuck in an office and they're just doing their job. And I know they used to be great athletes and now they're not doing anything. How do I get
Right.
men appreciating movement? And how do I help them with their back pain? How do I help them to be able to keep up with their kids? And knowing we're going to have like grandkids at some point, and that's going to be so far down the
Hit it
road,
on the head when we
and
spoke
they're doomed
on
now.
Tuesday.
Sorry, say again?
Yeah, I think you said something really great on Tuesday about this, which was like, for you personally, feel better when you were practicing Pilates while you were still active in athletics. And in my experience with the athletes that I've taught, they are shocked at how great they feel doing Pilates and also how hard it is.
Yes.
So I think that's a great entry point. It's like, okay, just give this a try, see how your body responds, and then like let that do the talking.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. That reminds me, I didn't want to like completely hijack your post with like when I was talking about it, but I remember when I was doing this sales job when I was in high school and trying to get this random like freezer. You remember those they used to drive around, they have a truck and there was like a freezer built into a truck and they try and sell you meat at your door type thing. And
Yeah.
it was like the
I grew up in
ghettoest job. And
yeah, I remember that.
oh, okay. Yeah. So they probably see like these great paychecks by doing this. And their strategy was, if you could just get them to see the product, they'll buy it. So you go to the door, you have a conversation, and then all you're trying to do is get them to a place where they say, okay, sure, let me see it. And then you run to the truck, you grab your whatever it is, like your freeze-dried T-bone steak, and show it to them, and then they'll buy it because they see it. And I think our Pilates is like that too. We can talk Pilates all day, but until they see it and they try it, they're really not gonna buy it.
Totally.
Yeah. So then in the pandemic, how do we get them to try it? I'm like, what's the next step, right? Like,
I was just thinking, yeah, and I think that there's two ways. One is like connecting with people in an emotional way of like understanding where they may be coming from. You know,
Yes.
a lot of people are in pain in their bodies on a daily basis, and they think
Mm-hmm.
it's normal to be in pain.
Yes.
And a lot of people are not empowered in their bodies. They don't feel like powerful. So I think those are great places to say, like, aren't you tired of feeling that way? You don't have to feel that way.
Right. Yeah, I love the word empowered. And you ask them, like, you know, aren't you tired of feeling that way? Do they even have hope or belief that they don't have to feel that way? Right?
I think it's our job to offer them that like option.
Right. Well, yeah, because the options before have been medication,
Right.
right? So it may have been medication, or it may have been, you know, going to, you know, some other health practitioner, right? And everything is manual and dependent on someone else. Um, I love how what you're saying there is like we're introduced into something that empowers them. It's not just something that makes them feel powerful, but empowers them to own their movement practice, own their exercise, own their own rehab, right?
Yeah, I think it's one of the things that like differentiates. I'm trying to think of like the exact language, Martin, but there's a difference between someone who wants to do exercise and there's a difference between someone who wants to like learn a way to move that they take ownership of. And I think Pilates fits into that category
Yes.
of like, I will teach something of which you will then have that is your own, that you will have that knowledge. I'm not just
Yes.
going to like teach you a class.
Love that. In the comments section, if you want to just put down like how you would capture that phrase, that would be helpful, because I love that. That's and like, you know, one of the ways that that's been said to Natalya is like, give the gift of Pilates, right? Like Sarah was on here and she was saying that her mom did that, like gave her a teacher training program and said, like, you know, you can go teach wherever, you can go learn wherever you like. And she went to New York and immersed herself in a teacher training program and went back to Austria.
Mm-hmm.
Her mom gave her the gift of Pilates that she could do, teach, use her own practice the rest of her life. So it's somewhere in there where we're educating them and empowering people, as opposed to saying, oh, here's your workout program, good luck with it, hope you stick to it.
Right. Yes. Yeah, I don't like to see people feel intimidated by movement in general, of like, in the olden days when I used to go to gyms and stuff like that, you know, you'll hear friends or family members in passing be like, oh, you know, I don't know, I'm not that comfortable in a gym, or like, oh, I can't do that, or I don't like hearing that. I think that it's important. Any health and wellness professional should make people feel like, you have an arm, I have an arm, you know, you have a leg, I have a leg. There's nothing inherently special about me that makes me able to do the things I do, other than I've just learned how to do them. I really believe that. When you see like crazy stuff happening on Instagram, they're human. Like, you could do that. You just got to learn.
Yeah, right. Just got to learn. Yeah, exactly. Love Movement Pilates says, Pilates will give you yourself. Yeah. That's great. I love that. You there?
I am, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yes. And there's Joel's comment says, yes, so true. You don't have to be a special human to be Pilates. Learn and be consistent for a while. Yes. So, right. Yeah, we
Yes.
see exactly. It normalizes the conversation of what we do. It empowers people, and as a personal trainer back in the day, I used to say that, there's a difference between exercising and training. If you exercise, you feel you just drop off eventually. If you're training for something, then you have a little bit more focus towards it. So then if you're training for something, my job is to educate you on how and when you are getting a good workout and when you're doing something good for your body.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can make you sweat. I can just make you do burpees and you'll sweat. That doesn't necessarily mean that you've had a good workout.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So our job is to educate people and to allow them to understand what's happening in their body and how they can make themselves feel good. And we're coming alongside them in their fitness journey instead of us doing the work for them.
Exactly. Yes, I agree. I saw this, when you're on your social media that you didn't invite onto your feed, but they populate. And
Yes.
I actually don't remember who or what it was, but the gist was that our workout is so awesome that it's 10 times more productive than any other workout. And then there was all the advertising and marketing as to why this is.
Yes.
And I want to debunk this myth and just say that any workout that you focus on is going to be 10 times better than any workout that you did without your mind engaged. And,
Thank you.
whenever I see fitness things, I'm like, oh, I want to debunk this. Because I want the general population to know that, that's not something cool. You could do anything. If you skip for 10 minutes and you're focused, it's better than an hour of skipping. And I think about that in Pilates because it really is a mind-body connection.
Absolutely. I'm sure both Joel and Amit would be like, yes. That's bang on. And I think that's you open up a whole door of conversation around mindfulness. Right? So and how would you define that? Just for the everyday person who doesn't understand the connection of mindfulness when it comes to work, how you said a lot about that, but how would you actually just define mindfulness in that context?
Yeah, I mean, you have to this thing that you're in, it only works if you really connect with how are your hands connecting to the floor? Can you feel the ends of your feet at the same time as you're doing something else without actually looking at your feet? This thing that we embody is so masterful. It is more masterful than any technology that will ever exist. And the great news is that it's just not that hard to connect to it. You just have to focus. You just have to concentrate and create those connections. And that kind of goes back to me saying that if you see somebody on Instagram doing something crazy, it's just because they focused many times over and over and over again that they have that connection.
Absolutely. And that comes full circle to the accessibility of the work that we do in a weird way, right? Because now if we're that mindful and connected to what we're doing, and I give you 5 minutes, say, just do that every day again next week, you will see such a big difference in your body as opposed to you just checking in when we meet and checking out until the next time that we meet.
Yep.
Right? So that's really one of the ways that we make this work accessible is that we teach you how to do it for yourself. And then everything you see behind me is a great supplement to the work that you're already doing.
Yeah, I often wonder, this has been my experience, it may not have been yours, but I wonder sometimes in my Pilates teaching career, why Pilates was sometimes taught in a come in for a session, I'm going to teach you a workout and then you leave.
Yes.
Whereas for example, if I signed up for swimming lessons, well, I would hope that each session I would learn how to swim better. And that by the time it came to my 5th swimming lesson, I'd know how to do the front crawl or tread water.
That's a great analogy.
Where my swimming instructor wasn't constantly telling me how to tread water. I would learn. But I haven't always seen that in my Pilates career.
That's such a good analogy.
Process. And I always felt that I was
Like, I've never had anyone use that analogy before, but that's exactly it. Like, I mean, if I'm gonna go swim, I'm not only gonna swim like 45 minutes a week with my instructor beside me. I'm taking those lessons so I can be better at swimming when I'm on my own.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's like where the beauty is in Pilates, is that you tend to do many movements repetitively. And you mentioned this last time we spoke together, that like if you do something on the reformer, you can do it on the caddy, and then you would do it on the wunda, and then you would do it on the mat. And or not necessarily in that order, but you know what I'm saying. But if you can't do it anywhere, then like you're not making those connections. Where am I going with this? Basically, that in the repetition is like where the magic rises.
Yes. Yes, exactly. That's such a good analogy. And Joel, yes, your swimming instructor won't be there when you go to the lake and swim. Just a little disclaimer. On the side note, I am a terrible swimmer, and I would need my instructor beside me the entire time, or I will sink like a rock. So, in my case, I need 4 noodles, or I'll sit cross-legged on the bottom of the pool. So I don't know.
I'm not a particularly strong swimmer either, so I'm with you there.
And when I was talking with, actually, it was with Emmett. We were talking about this, but we use the analogy of martial arts, where you do lessons, and the lessons prepare you for when you're in a fight or when you're in a tournament or whatever it is, because the instructor is not going to be there with you when you're in the fight.
Right.
The instructor is not going to be with you there when you're on the mat in a tournament. That's what the preparation is for. And Pilates in the same way. This is our preparation for when we are gardening, playing a sport, playing with our kids, doing life, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
We're at 52 minutes. I never actually even asked you how you found Pilates. How did you even get into the Pilates gig in the first place?
I was endeavoring to be a professional dancer, and during that time I had dabbled in Pilates. It was offered to us for rehab and for strengthening and for toning, for specific kind of conditioning, which Pilates is conditioning. And
Yes.
I ended my dance career. I just fell out of love with the whole thing, and I was like, well, crap, what am I going to do now? Like, I'm not going to sit at a desk. I'm not going to do anything that is like conventional. So I got to figure this out fast. And
Yes.
one of my friends said, you should really think about doing your Pilates certification, at least like something interim. So I did my STOT certification in 2002. It was really the only certification that I was aware of here in Canada.
Right.
I was not aware of the other certifying organizations. And so I did that, but I also did a mentorship through another studio that was affiliated with STOT. And that was really great because I was taken under that master trainer's wing, and I taught under her for a year before she was like, okay, you're ready to go into the real world. And I had passed my exams, but without that mentorship, there's no way I would be the teacher that I am today. And I continue to do mentorships with various individuals in different disciplines, even that I felt had a lot to say about movement, that knew more than I knew. Beautiful. I was never afraid to be the person that knew the least in the class. I prefer to be that way.
Yes.
So that's kind of how I came to Pilates. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And there's something to be said for that mentoring piece too, because we think that just because we have the certification that we're good to go. And when I started doing personal training, it was the same way. Like I had one career, got into PT, and the lady that I was working with was like really did mentor me. Like I followed her around, I did sessions with her.
Yeah.
She would, she would be, I'm away for the weekend. Do you feel comfortable teaching this person once? Here's the program. Like it was a long time of just sitting under her and learning. And then when she decided to go back to school, to teacher training, to teacher's college, I was at this point where it's like, okay, I could take on her whole book of business and quit my job and run with it, or I can just like, whatever. And that's when I made that, switch from social work into personal training. But
Yeah.
if it wasn't for that mentoring piece,
Yeah.
yeah, I wouldn't have felt equipped. And I think that that's one of those missing links is that, yeah, you walk out of this
One of the
teacher
things that
training, you could have done 600
worry
hours,
about
but
right now in the pandemic.
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, no, sorry. I think there's a bit of delay. I apologize if I interrupted what you were saying, Martin. Yeah, I guess that's one of the things that concerns me right now about the pandemic is if it were me, then, I mean, I don't know how I would learning in a virtual setting exclusively. And I hope that students that elect to do their teacher training, eventually after the pandemic is over, do have that in-person mentorship. That would be ideal.
Yes. Yeah. That's and really that is part of my vision for this space. And I love that you mentioned that. Connecting with you, connecting with other people in our city, I have no visions of starting my own teacher training, apprenticeship program, anything of that nature. But, as people are doing those more online stuff, like I'd love to be a space where people can come and observe and take lessons and put some skin on what they're learning in that digital space.
Yes. So important. And it's really like important that individuals that have the physical space can offer that. And you know what, maybe create a bit of a mentorship program where there can be an in-person, in real life experience.
IRL. Nice. Natalya, let's keep this conversation going. We should do like round 3 sometime because we're at 57.
I think that, there's a lot to say and there's a lot to unpack. And, we've got that Toronto vibe going. Everybody
right.
From Toronto, Canada.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
So, and thank you. I just want to say
Toronto, you don't understand that vibe.
I know, it's true, but it's okay. They're learning because I've been doing this for a minute. So, shout out to Em and Joel. I just want to say, like, having two strong Pilates guys in the room is really cool in this really woman-dominated space. I love the energy and just the impact that these guys are having. So I just wanted to shout those two guys out. And Kevin, Pilates Dwell, a friend of mine in Michigan that you mentioned earlier too, is doing a great work.
Yes, Kevin Dwell.
Yeah. So there's some really, really good guys. So I just love what we're doing, and I feel like that voice is so needed.
Yes.
And what you're doing is awesome, and I love your entry point thoughts and just the accessibility of it, and cheering you on, Natalya, and everything you do. So thank you so much for me.
Thank you so much for having me. It was really awesome to speak with you again and to share, and let's do it again soon. And thank you to everyone who joined our convo.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to sign you off and I'll message you after. Thanks so much. All right. Thank you guys. Take care.